Aloha and welcome to Mystic Wisdom Dialogues with Wayne Kealohi Powell, broadcasting from the middle of the Pacific Ocean on the beautiful island of Kauai in the state of Hawaii. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Mystic Wisdom. Oh, golly gee. What a great day. It's always a quandary to me at first, what to allow to come forward for these dialogues. I don't want to plan it too much because I want to leave plenty of room for the Holy Spirit to come in and just, drop the love bomb on everybody. So I've had a whole bunch of ideas. And yeah, if any of you chiming in have a comment or have a question as I'm speaking, don't hesitate to put it in the chat. And my trusty assistant, Hope, will draw my attention to it and you'll get an answer. So, what would the questions be about? Let's look at Kahuna Science. Let's look at Ho'oponopono, self-ID, and let's look at A Course in Miracles. Mm. Over the last couple of weeks, I've had, because I'm doing a live presentation here, we have a group every Tuesday, a couple of advanced students studying A Course in Miracles. And I've also had some of my students here and clients here who would prefer to study Ho'oponopono. And then, of course, I get emails about Kahuna Science as well. So I want to clarify these three systems and let you in on why they are sort of the triad of the platform I stand upon. Well, back in the day, it was 95. I was living on Molokai and recovering from divorce, bankruptcy, divorce with three children, bankruptcy, and a breakdown on every level of my life. And a friend handed me A Course in Miracles and said, well, here's the manual for recovery. And at the same time, I was studying Kahuna Science, and I was giving them both equal attention. And I saw so clearly how they seem to weave a perfect um, synergy between the two systems coming from different languaging. Yeah, for example, I've said this before in one of the other podcasts that the first principle in Huna, Ike, it simply states from the Kahili system, the world is what you think it is. And everything is a dream. So I'm looking at the first principle or first couple principles of A Course in Miracles at the same time. And it's helping me to dissolve what I think the world is. The first lesson is what you see from this room, from this window, is not at all what you think it is. So then I started to look into that. And as I've mentioned before, our thinking mind is a projector. The light from God who beats our heart and offers us this wonderful experience of life here moves through our thought forms, our programming, into patterns of seeing, into patterns of identification. And that is how the world is what I think it is. Simply energy, infinite energy, is coming through my programmed mind and projecting. That's a wall, that's a drum, that's a refrigerator, that's a computer, that's a book, that's a microphone. And so I am actually creating the world from my programming in every moment of my life. And so all of my decisions are made around these thoughts. Pretty logical, I'd say. Well, when you start doing the exercises, the first three exercises in A Course in Miracles, they have you staring at something until the meaning of it completely disappears. And so what happens is, especially if you don't blink, you start to see the aura of what it is. For me, they suggested using a table, so I did. I had a coffee table. And I was looking at the coffee table and I was trying not to blink. There was no wind because I was inside. And I was just staring at the coffee table and I removed the idea that it's a coffee table from my mind. Just sort of let that program, that projection completely go. And what I felt was a pulling back of my energy to receive what the coffee table was without any identification. And within a couple of minutes, the coffee table started to have a very subtle glow of light around it. And then I received a feeling from this perception that it was here to serve me in some way, however I chose. And then that perception expanded into everything in this world is here to serve me and my projections in some way. And I get the choice of how that's going to appear. Well, needless to say, that was completely mind-blowing. And then I noticed that everything that I see is light. When I see as light, it is light. When I see through my programming, then it's just what I think it is, which is the first principle. So that's why in my book, Reclaiming Original Innocence, you can have these exercises from the first, the Course in Miracles workbook. Course in Miracles has 3 books in it. The first book is the text. Second book is the workbook. 365 lessons, one for each day of the year. And the third book is the teacher's manual. So in the workbook, I put the first 3 lessons in here to kind of kickstart your idea of disidentifying everything in your projection. So you can actually receive a crystal clear, now moment perception of what the world actually is and why it's here. Well, why is this important? Well, this is important because if you look very carefully at your daily activities and you start to witness your thought forms, you'll see that your mind, our mind, every mind, is kind of a machine that just interprets everything automatically, involuntarily. Yeah, it happens. It's just the way the mind works. And with that, along with that comes judgments. Yeah. And the interesting thing about judgment, which I learned in Huna, is that where judgment is, love does not flow. How about that? Now take that into your relationship and smoke it. Where judgment is, love cannot flow. Read that in. So your exercise for this week would be to observe how much judgment is happening every moment of your life, every direction that you look, every relationship that you have. Are there tendencies to wish that one of your relationships, they would possibly act differently so that you would feel more comfortable? When in fact, you are projecting on them from your own mind their behavior, which is a judgment. There you go. So back to the correlations. So finally when I started to study Morna Simeona's work, which is the source of the Zero Limits book through Joe Vitale, through Hugh Lynn, Dr. Hugh Lynn, who the book was about. Morna Simeona was Dr. Hugh Lynn's teacher of the self-identity, oponopono. Well, in my book, I have recoined it as self-responsibility because that's what it feels more like to me. And what does that mean? That means being absolutely responsible for everything we see, for everything we feel, and for everything we think, and for every behavior that we have. Now, the ego takes that in a very negative way. Being responsible for all that stuff, you're going to feel guilty because you're screwing up all the time. Bless that ego. Whereas the flip side of that is when you become fully responsible and you don't judge yourself, you observe your behavior, you observe your feelings, you observe your thoughts. To observe is vipassana. That's what vipassana means, is to observe. When you observe, you're taking full responsibility. When you observe in a detached way, as your light is observing you, your immortal self, your higher self is observing your humanness. Okay? Breathe that in. Your light, your higher self, your God self, your angelic self, your perfect self, your immortal self, doesn't matter what you call it. When it is observing your humanness from within or from above, whichever works for you, then you'll have compassion for your humanness instead of judgment. Now, being self-responsible for all that you project in the world, that you are projecting this entire dream of the world through your programming and running patterns with people. When you become responsible to that through observation, you take on an energetic anomaly. You take on a larger aspect of yourself, which is light, which is love, in this body, having a human experience. Now, when this becomes your experience, you'll not only have compassion for your own humanness, you'll have compassion for the entire world and everyone else's humanness. No more judgment. Gone. No matter how it feels, no matter how it looks, there'll be no reaction from you because you'll be in observation mode. Reactions come automatically from programming. When someone says something to you or you experience pain on any dimension, physical or emotional, from someone else, the ego's response is to react. And yeah, so this will actually be completely unplugged once you have reclaimed your original innocence. And that's what we're doing through this observation process. We're seeing that everyone in the world, including ourselves, is absolutely innocent from the point of view of immortal light, higher self, God self, angelic self. In other words, it's the only place to find unconditional love. It's not in this dimension, but we can access it in this dimension from above. That's right. We have complete access because we were made in the likeness of our Creator. So we share the one mind of God. And when we are thinking with that mind, we are really, really happy. Yeah. And so you'll watch through your observation process, you'll watch your thoughts. You'll see which thoughts are from above, pure, honest truth. That you are love in a body, you are light in a body, you have an immortal self that lives beyond this dimension now. And that's the part that can experience original innocence and absolute joyful experience here on earth, regardless of the emotional impact or content going on. Yeah. And why is that? Well, because the Course states, what is real cannot be threatened. There it is. What is real is that we were made as love to be in a body. And somewhere along the line, we decided not to believe that. Religion didn't help. You were born in sin. You have to do this in order to be saved, in order to go to heaven. Religion did not help that at all. It gave us a lot of confines that through the centuries we've realized are not real. So, what is real cannot be threatened. What is unreal doesn't even exist. So, what we're getting to in the advanced perception of what's going on here and who we are as love and light in a body is that everything that we project is unreal. And how is that so? Well, it's temporary. What is real is permanent. It has no beginning, no end, and no middle. It just is. Love just is. Light just is. And I'm not talking about physical light. I'm talking about the light of spirit, which beats our hearts and which causes the love we feel in every relationship, which can get quite confusing depending on the relationship. Why? Because of our programming. And this is what we want to observe. We want to take a really good, careful look at our thoughts, our beliefs. Now, our life is actually designed to flow through our beliefs. And there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, you can believe, that You have to believe in Jesus to be saved, and it'll work for you. Uh, I have some fundamentalist Christians that are really good friends, and that's working for them. Yet, in the principle of unity and the one spirit, there is no belief that doesn't separate you from others, because that's what belief does. It's a container of thought forms to live one's life by. That's why there are so many religions and so many spiritual paths, because we pick one that we resonate with and we move into that container and we believe that for a while because it works for us. Nothing wrong. It's just the way the system is designed. Yet in Kahuna Science, check this out. A kahuna would only hold a belief, a container for life to flow through, in order to create a change in reality. In other words, if a Hindu would come to a kahuna for healing, they would use the channel of Hinduism for their healing, that belief system, because that's what works for the Hindu. So, in that regard, the kahuna would be very careful not to attach to any belief system whatsoever, because it would be such a limiting way for infinity to manifest in healing for a wide variety of people with different belief systems. Yeah. So your lesson, should you choose to accept it this week, is to observe your thoughts and notice if you track them to beliefs. And notice how when your belief is challenged by a relationship of some kind, that you'll get really upset. Yeah. And what do you do with that? You have a lot of choices of what to do when you get upset, right? We're going to blame. We're going to shame. We're going to blame, shame, and guilt. That's what we're going to do. And that doesn't feel good at all, right? So I'm offering you another way. That's why it says in the bottom here, the way home. And where's home? Home is who we are. Home is heaven, which can live in us and around us once we take full responsibility for our thoughts, our beliefs, our words, our actions, and have compassion for the human condition. So there you go. That's one thing that wanted to come forward today. Yeah, and how does this function in relationship? You'll find out when you try it on for size. Yeah, I'm uh, I'm seeing so many patterns in myself. Like I have been a romantic all my life. I romance everything. I romance the wind, the plants, the ocean, people. Everyone I meet, there's a romantic connection. I think it's because my mother's Cuban, but I have no idea why. Why? That's part of my IBM imprint card. But yeah, so how does that play out with the feminine? Because I've lived with women for 39 years. And I've had plenty of time to look back on that and see how my romantic self fully indulged in absolute codependent heaven. I loved it because everyone knew their part in the codependency. Mom, dad, the kids. Everyone is playing their part perfectly in my movie. And that's another great thing to look at with your life is it's a movie. It literally is. And being the first one to open a video store here on Kauai, I saw how we were living our lives through movies. And I stocked my video store with films that people came to the video bar and told me about because we weren't making a lot of money on the big hits. They were really expensive. But the older movies, they cost 1/10 of what the hits cost. So, and they brought in the same amount of money per rental as the hits. So, people would come to the video bar and I'd say, "Hey, what's your favorite movie?" And I made a list. And if they could convince me, I'd say, "Why?" And they could convince me, I would order the movie. So people would come from all around the world to my little video store and they would look around and they'd come to the bar and they'd go, "I can't believe your selection here. This is the best selection I've ever seen in a small video store." This was 1989 when video was at its height. So over the years, I've looked at how, each one of us is living a movie because we talk about projections, right? And what is a movie? How is a movie created? A movie is created with light coming through thought forms and being projected on a screen. Now, how is that different from what's happening in your life? Light, which is who we are, coming through thought forms, which is what we think everything is, being projected as the world. And who's starring in this? Well, you are. You're the star in your movie. And guess what? You're the casting director as well. You cast every single character in your movie with the one spirit, of course, to bring you the exact lessons that you are required to have for this particular incarnation. So, how does this help to look at your life as a movie? Well, think about it for a minute. When you go to the big screen theater and you watch an intense drama like the Titanic, I was sitting there in the seat crying for 25 minutes after that movie ended. They had to drag me out of the theater. It's a movie. It's not even real. No different than life. Life is so intense, just like that movie, The Titanic, that we receive it in the same way. All the trauma, drama, and all the hurts and pains, exaltations and uplifts, we receive it all just like a great movie. And in my point of view, from a shamanic point of view, every incarnation is like a new episode for your soul to travel through. Try a different character, a different experience. Maybe you're a pauper, maybe you're a warrior, maybe you're a king or a queen. Um, doesn't matter. All roles are the same in a movie. We give everything its identification. Remember that. Nothing has any meaning of its own. First three lessons in the Course in Miracles. Nothing has any meaning of its own. And this really helps us to detach from the judgment automatic program. Absolutely. So this really helps, I think. It helps me detach from the emotional impact of things that normally really, really upset me. Here's a perfect example. This last week, I was potentially hired to play a high-end gig here in Kauai. And I hadn't played in so long. I spent a week rehearsing, trying to get the calluses back on my finger to play acoustic guitar. Didn't work. Hurt like hell when I played the gig. But nevertheless, I get there, find out that I have to drag the equipment like 300 or 400 feet to where it needs to be set up, going downhill during the heat of the afternoon. And so I did, and I set it all up, and the manager was really excited about me coming because our conversation on the phone was really enlightening for both of us. And so I did my best. I played my heart out. People seemed to really like it. I got really good tips. And then I go to the manager and he says, well, I don't think it's a fit. And I was like, oh, how so? And he goes, well, we're looking for a better singer. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, well, thanks for your honesty. And he paid me. And I picked up my equipment and dragged it all the way back up the hill, 300 or 400 feet, sweating because it's the heat of the day. And I'm driving home and I'm thinking, you know, I'm really so glad I didn't get that gig. And then I noticed that normally that would not be my experience. Normally I would be so upset, feeling rejected, feeling less than, feeling not good enough. All those feelings, I witnessed those patterns just on the outside of my thinking process. And that's when I realized that I had embodied what I'm telling you so thoroughly that there's a trust in place that the Holy Spirit, that that's moving, that's orchestrating all of life, had this experience for me to see that that's not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So that trust saved me from all the negative feelings that were just waiting to be run. I didn't run them. Nope. I came home feeling so glad I didn't get that gig. So this could happen to you. You could find yourself when you do a daily practice of meditating, and this can be Ho'oponopono. It could be any spiritual path, as long as you are claiming your original innocence. And what does that look like? Wow. Spend one day monitoring how many judgments you have about yourself. Just one day, just an hour. Try that. For 1 hour, check out how many judgments you have about yourself and how many judgments you're using others for to judge you. That's a big one. Because in the system of Ho'oponopono, self-ID from Morna Simeona, and the way Dr. Hugh Lin healed those 30 inmates in that hospital was by cleaning and clearing every single judgment, erasing, completely gone. Not only what he was thinking in his mind, but also erasing what he thought everyone else was thinking in their mind. The judge, the bailiff, the one taking notes, the attorneys. He was judging what he thought because he was reading the files of what everyone said. He was reading the files that were the transcriptions of the court cases. All the witnesses, everything, all the judgments from everyone that got on the stand, from every attorney that spoke, from every judge that's muttered a word, he would clean what he thought they were thinking when they said that. So he's constantly cleaning his own mind, cleaning what he thought about the accused, cleaning what everyone else thought they thought about the accused. And within 3 years, 30 of the 32 patients were healed and let back into society. And he never met them. He never counseled them. That's how powerful your mind is. Breathe that in. I'm making this all sound so serious, but it's not. This is a dream we're all having in the mind of God. It's a movie, which means it's not real. I know, I know. It feels real because of our emotional body that is so sensitive to when our programming and our beliefs get attacked in some way. When someone doesn't behave in the way we think they should, or when I don't behave in the way I think I should. Do you have any idea how much guilt is being carried around by everyone? Think about that for a minute. You know, I tell people who come to training with me, we live in a guilt-free universe. Isn't that exciting? We live in a guilt-free universe. Breathe that in. Well, where does guilt come from? That's something for you to explore within yourself. How many things have you swept under the carpet? I know I have swept a lot of things under the carpet with 2 marriages and several other relationships, 3 children, 3 grandchildren. There's so many opportunities for guilt. Yeah. But what does that produce besides a contraction? Yeah, guilt is not, it's not fun. Yeah. So why does so many people carry it? It's the nature of being human. It's part of our training to find out who we are without guilt. But we won't find that out until we've had enough experience of guilt. And what's really, really interesting is all the people who have died and come back. They say when they're out of the body, there aren't any negative feelings that exist in the world. All they feel is an infinite amount of warm, cozy, parental type love that is overwhelming for them. Makes them cry if they had tears. Overjoyed. It's an expansion of joy into their immortal self that they have a hard time believing they chose to come back in the body that was mangled and full of pain. And the only reason they did is because someone was left behind that couldn't live without them. So this is who we are. And so, as I go deeper and deeper into this training of these 3 systems, and God bless Morna Simeona, she discovered this in the 80s and started teaching it and creating miracles after miracles after miracles, helping people release the guilt and the shame for everything they thought they had done. Yeah. Because she realized through the principle of oneness, like many of the Indian masters have said, there isn't another. It's all an inside job. There isn't another. Everyone in your life, you're having a relationship, is merely a reflection of what's in your mind. Everyone in your life is merely a reflection of what's in your mind. You see, this is unity consciousness. One spirit, one mind. In other words, you are the giver the receiver, and that which is given every moment of your life. It's like a boomerang that is instant. There isn't another. So whatever you're giving to someone, you are receiving it in the same moment through the spirit channel. So the question becomes, what would you like to give to anyone? Anyone that apparently hates you. What would you like to give? Anyone who apparently thinks not very highly of you, that you've done things wrong. What would you like to give them? It's always, always a call for love. Yeah. Hmm. Always a call for love. And when you are have taken the time to fill yourself with light and become fully self-responsible for your thoughts, feelings, actions, words, deeds, your body, all your self-projections, when you become fully responsible for all of that, knowing that this is not you, that you are absolutely an innocent, holy child of God having a human experience. When this happens, then everything that happens here gets a response, a loving response, no matter what it is. Because the response is coming from that actualization that you are whole, that who you are is not this body. And I know that's really hard for the ego because the ego is the body. It holds the memories. The memories hold the hurts. They hold the wounds. So when you start functioning that you are not a body, then you're going to get a lot of a backwash from the ego, because that's the death of the ego. Nothing wrong. There's never anything wrong from the light perspective. These are all just patterns to look at and view with your own wisdom, your own innate consciousness that knows what I'm saying is true, that knows that you were born to be a light in this world, regardless of your condition, regardless of your race, your body style, how tall or how short you are, or how you look in the mirror. We are each given exactly the same gift. And that is to play. And that is to play here on earth as innocent children. So these courses, they teach, forget what you think you've done. Forget karma. Forget, having to carry guilt until you redeem yourself. Forget having to do something to become whole or live in heaven. That is all unreal. Absolutely. What is real is in this holy instant, in this moment, each one of us can reclaim our original innocence just through practice. Just through practice. Observe the patterns of guilt and shame and blame and decide not to play into them. A pattern is like a game. So we have a choice every time one of these impulses comes up for shame, blame, guilt. observe it and decide, I'm not going to play into this pattern. And so the ego will say, well, so-and-so is playing into the pattern. Ah, but if you don't show up to play that pattern with them, they don't get to play that pattern. It takes two to play the pattern. That's why in the Course in Miracles, it says it only takes one to create a miracle for the many. And that's a whole nother idea I want to lay on you. That when one person, you, me, anyone, creates a miracle by choosing not to play those patterns and let love move itself forward instead, that's the pattern you choose. That affects everyone on the planet. Why? Because we are one. That message is amplified in the spirit channel for the entire human race. And that's how you are the light of the world. That's how I am the light of the world. By choosing the pattern of love and compassion every single time. It'll make you happy because you'll be thinking with the mind of God. And that is golden. So, all right. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. And I hope you share these talks when they come through with your friends. Because all of us have a message to give to the world. And I'm finally becoming responsible and claiming my part in this world experience movie to share this message. Mystic wisdom from, many more systems than the three I'm sharing with you. But nevertheless, have a great day. And I hope you come back next Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, there's someone in the house. I just see here. Okay. Do you have a question, CL?
Hi, I made it. I sent you a little email telling you that I wasn't able to sleep and I would try and make it, and I made it. I got up, and so my question is about physical pain,
Okay.
because I have this terrible neck problem, and yeah, I think I mentioned that I was in a relationship, and of course, even though things have shifted, I know I'm still in that relationship, which, you made really clear last time when you talked about your wife and how yeah, these relationships are eternal, I think. But I started getting this pain in my body because I was giving so much energy to this person that I kind of, yeah, I kind of wrecked my body.
Well,
Is that even possible? I mean, I don't really know, but
no, well, you're pretty much bang on there, CL, because what happens when we're believing that there's another that can affect us? We're leaking our energy to them. And yeah, it's like when we focus on another as the cause our pain, and it's easy to do because the emotional body is letting us know that this person is the cause. That's the way the ego thoughts go. And we feel our energy from the lower centers, especially, just pouring into this person. We're not getting what we want, from the relationship, and that really hurts. And so we break it apart, and that hurts even more. And the energy just goes in volumes out out, out, out until our body is bankrupt. And that's when physical things appear in the body. And the more we leak the energy, the more the pain increases. So the only thing to do with that is to reclaim your original innocence, to meditate on the fact that there isn't another person that is involved in your movie, that this person is just a reflection of your own programming that you're running, and you're using them as the target to run the program, which is pure separation, which will drain energy in volumes into the separated party. So when you realize from in by going into your feelings, here, let's have an experience now. Okay, see, I'll just bear with me here. We're going to go into an experience.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, okay. So close your eyes. Everyone who wants this experience is having a challenge with someone. You can also do this meditation. Start breathing in from above. And breathe in pure golden white light. And let your feelings just be. As you breathe in this light, breathe them into your feelings, or bring your feelings to this light. And now disengage completely from the other person. And just be with yourself vertically as you're breathing in slowly golden white light from above into the feelings. They could be anything. They could be betrayal, abandonment, disrespect, mistrust, whatever the feelings are. Just breathe the light into them and let the feeling go into the light. Around your solar plex area, or even your sacral chakra, or even your tribal chakra. And keep breathing the light into them and reclaiming your energy as your God self, embracing the human feelings of betrayal, abandonment, abuse, disrespect, etc., mistrust. And let those feelings, bring those feelings to the light that you have generated in your solar plex. Hug them with the light and feel this unconditional love coming from your higher self, hugging those feelings that you're holding in your belly. And as you breathe deeper and deeper and more light, the light expands in your lower rib cage and your abdominal area. And each breath of pure golden white light from your higher self descends into those feelings as you allow the feelings to be swallowed by the light that you are. Some would call it Christ, which is just a quality, a frequency of light. In Hawaiian, it's a la'akea, which is sacred light. Keep breathing it in. And let the light, like an eraser or a sponge, absorb those feelings into itself. Breathe intentionally slowly, deeply, until the guilt is gone or almost gone, the shame, the blame. Keep breathing slowly, deeply, intentionally, unconditional love into your human feelings. And open your entire energy to this light. Feel peace and joy descending within the light. And let those feelings of humanness rise up to meet with joy, peace, grace. And like an umbrella that's about to close, have those feelings from above. Close the umbrella very slowly with the human feelings underneath. And as the umbrella completely closes, the grace umbrella, those feelings, those human feelings inside disappear. And a love shower of rain pours down on the umbrella and washes you clean. Every droplet is filled with gold and white light, love from God. Allow this shower to continue until you feel your innocent self having a human experience that was very uncomfortable. And let the rain just wash the past into the earth, into a river flowing beneath you. All of those feelings being washed by the rain of light, la'akea, ua la'akea, into the river. And this with those human feelings, washing you clean. And as those feelings reach the ocean, they completely disperse and disappear into infinity of the cosmic, oceanic love of life. Take a few more really deep breaths as this cycle from above goes right through you, through your body, over the sides of the umbrella, down into the stream, and the stream flowing to the ocean of infinite love. Embracing you and all your humanness with compassion. Yeah. Huh. All right. You'll have this recorded on the replay, and you can do this meditation as often as you like. And just remember in this meditation who you are in a body as a sacred, innocent child of God. That's who you were before the body, who you are after the body, and who you are now in this body. Experiencing this human movie full of intense emotions, trauma, drama, joyous exaltation, love in all of its forms, and the lack of love in all of its forms. So we can remember, bring back together the truth of who we are in a body as love. And so it is, and so it shall be. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for this blessing. So I wish all of you the best day of your life and hope to see you come back to Mystic Wisdom Dialogues.
Thank you.
You're welcome, dear. Have a great day.
Thank you.